How's it going, people? Welcome back to the Supporters Club. A very special episode today. Not only is it the North London derby tomorrow, our biggest game of the season, but I'm joined today by my first ex-pro, Mr. Kevin Campbell. Nice to see you today, Kevin.
Nice to be here, Turkish.
And obviously Claude, a regular, and Lee Judges, another regular. Today, obviously discussing the North London derby.
I'm pro at something, but I don't know what it is.
You know what? I'm going to start with Mesut Ozil. Should he start this weekend? Kev, let's start with you.
It was good to see him have a great game in the week, but I think the intensity of this game, I don't think he's going to, Unai Emery's going to start him. I think he's going to rotate the team. Me personally, I think he's going to bring Ramsey in and do a pressing job like we did against Chelsea.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way Emery's going to go.
On the flip side of that, against Tottenham, the first home game, Ramsey came on and made a huge impact. I don't believe Ozil was the type of player to come on in a game and make an impact. I've never believed he's that type of person. He needs to be in the game from the first minute to dictate things. Would that be an issue if, let's say, we do start Ramsey and we fall behind? Getting that firepower off the bench, I don't believe Ozil is that man. So Lee, how do you see it going? Do you think Ozil will start or do you want him to start?
I'm with Kev. I feel like, that Ramsey should start for this one. I think keep it tight for the first 70 minutes and then maybe open it out. And I think tomorrow, the 11:30 is going to be key when that team sheet comes out. I really do think that's going to be key because it's not just the Ozil situation. I think, Aubameyang or Lacazette up front is a massive call for the manager. I think it's a massive call. I understand that all the players are back in training today, so there's no issues with injuries. Yeah, I think it's going to, this is where I'm afraid that Emery's going to have to earn his money tomorrow, and I think he's got some real big calls to make. That being one, I do feel with the game on Wednesday when Ramsey hasn't come on, I think there's something in that he didn't even bring him on. No need to, so I think he's keeping him nice and fresh. And that's the greatest thing. We've been able to rotate. Spurs haven't been able to, so it puts us in a better position. Yeah,
definitely. Claude, obviously, I seen your interview the last game.
The only time I want to see Ramsey is in the Hall's kitchen tomorrow night.
That's it, just Gordon Ramsey, yeah? So you'd start Mesut Ozil tomorrow?
I would start Ozil, yeah. And Kevin just made a point about not the intensity of games too much, but remember Chelsea a couple of seasons, or was it last season?
One of the 3-0?
A couple of seasons back,
Yeah.
I remember Manchester United when we beat them 3-0 at that time?
Yeah.
That was an intense game, Kevin.
Yeah, but that was a few years ago.
Yeah.
We're talking about this season.
He's still got it, mate.
But listen, here's the funny thing, Claude. It's no point looking back. You got to look at the body of work now.
You saw it the other night. He still got it, mate.
Yeah, against Bournemouth.
Yeah, well, you can say what you want. So if that was Hazard against Bournemouth, everyone would be raving about it, wouldn't they?
Well, Hazard has the consistency.
Yeah. We're
still deliberating about Mesut Ozil because he's so inconsistent. We know on his day he's world class. He's technically the best player at Arsenal. Of course he is. And that's why he gets what he gets.
I think.
But we're still questioning whether he can do it consistently, and I think that's.
But when you're playing Spurs, to open up, you need creativity, and Ramsey hasn't got that creativity that Ozil's got.
So when Ramsey came on and changed the Tottenham game earlier on in the season, what do you say about that? Everyone talks about, are we creative? We need creativity. Look, the team go out and win the game. That's all that matters. Whether it's creative or not. If we win 1-0 and it's a poor game, would you care? I wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't.
No, I won't care, but if we win 1-0, it's a big if, isn't it?
But also with the creativity side, Aaron Ramsey gives creativity in a different way, by opening up space, making runs deep, stretching their defence. So there's two ways to be creative.
Yeah, to be honest, on the flip side of things.
I thought him and Mkhitaryan the other night done so well together. They worked well together, We've just won 5-1, yeah? Let's go with it. They're rocking at the moment, so go with the confidence. Go in.
My opinion on it.
We've got a fast start. Have a good fast start. Get at them.
Yeah, that is key. But my opinion is, I'm with Claude. I'd want Ozil to start for a different reason because in the past month it's kind of been highlighted where Emery and Ozil might have an issue, and it's caused a little divide in the fan base again. And I've been critical of Ozil. I've mentioned his wages a lot. And I mention his wages because that's what football is. I think a lot of people now have to start mentioning wages like they do in American sports. A lot of American players are in NFL and NBA. They're compared by their wages because if you're the top earner, you're compared to other top earners, whether you're a power forward, a point guard, it doesn't matter. So that's what we have to do as fans. Now, Mesut Ozil is our 350k star man. I've just said this is our biggest game of the year. For us to say, for 2 of the 4 guests to say, maybe start Ramsey, who's leaving at the end of the season, says it all about Mesut Ozil for me. He has to start this game, and that being because I believe if he doesn't start, what Claude said in his last interview, Emery being a sackable offence, it could lead down to a lot more pressure on Emery. If he doesn't start Ozil and we don't get a point out of that game, then that divide in that fan base will grow.
Look, I think it's pretty obvious that Unai Emery has said in the past he doesn't trust Ozil in certain games.
Yeah.
Now, you're right about the way the American sports monitor their stars with money.
Yeah.
And for us to even be having this conversation about our highest earner, it shouldn't even be it shouldn't even come out. It should be he's the first name on the team sheet.
Exactly.
But here we are, 4 years in, and we're still having this conversation. Are you sure if Ozil plays, are you sure that he'll perform tomorrow?
I can't say that.
We're not sure, but you should be sure.
Yeah, you should
If it's Cristiano Ronaldo, you know he's going to perform. If it's Messi, you know he's going to perform. So I think we all would just like Ozil to be so super consistent because that's what you pay him the money for.
That's it.
But why is the spotlight just on one player, Kevin? There are a lot of ordinary players around him that are not doing their job. Well, no one's saying a thing about it.
I agree.
Why is it just Ozil?
No, but Claude.
Why is it just Ozil's got to do this? What about all these other players?
Yeah, Claude.
The people around him.
Claude, the thing is in football, when you're in that dressing room, the so-called lesser players look up to the big players to lead.
Yeah,
but that's what it's about.
When he's at Real Madrid, look at what he's looking around. When he's looking around at these players, it's just. He's
Claude, I agree with that. No, Claude, I agree with that, but
that's difficult as well. You know what I'm saying?
Real Madrid are different to Arsenal.
The quality of the players around him as well. You've got
unfortunately.
And Claude, usually I agree with you, but one thing I'll throw back then is Ozil signed a contract that he knew if he didn't perform to the level of a Hazard or a Pogba or a Salah, he was going to get stick. And that's why I put some of the blame on him. A lot of people say, would you sign a contract for 100k less? Probably not. He signed a contract that was given, but the pressure comes with that. And if you're signing a 350k contract, then all eyes are on you. He is our star man. And the pressure is on his shoulders. And we have to support him usually, but he hasn't been consistent enough for us to.
If someone offers you that money, you're going to take it, and he's not going to say, I don't want it, is he?
Yeah, but that's fair enough. Hence the pressure.
It's also not about Mesut Ozil tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
No. It's not about Mesut Ozil. It's about getting a result. I think somewhere along the line, Emery might even go with three defensive-looking midfielders with Guendouzi. Xhaka, of course, didn't play in the week, and also playing Torreira. So he may decide that we're going to stifle it up and not even play Ramsey, and then play like Iwobi, Mkhitaryan as the more creative player with one up front. There's so many options that the manager can do, and I don't think it should be just down to whether Mesut Ozil plays. I think at the end of it, it's what it's about tomorrow is getting the result, and if that means with Mesut Ozil, fantastic. If it's not without.
True,
fantastic. And to me, you lead me on to the next point.
To make him the scapegoat for the whole thing is a bit.
No, I don't think it's a scapegoat, Claude. I just think that. Look,
but why is everyone just talking about Ozil now? If Ozil this, Ozil that.
Yeah, but Claude, when the manager.
I've seen so many shocking performances from other players, and not a mention.
But why did he quote Dennis Bergkamp? To me, don't quote a legend like that if you're not doing it on the pitch.
I sometimes think whether it's him or it's.
His PR team.
Of
course, but again, I put the blame on him. It's his people. So he puts the pressure on himself as well, Claude. But Lee, you led me to the next point because it's not about Mesut Ozil, and there's another big decision to be made. There's a couple decisions to be made. Let me start with Kev here. One striker, or do you start with both Ober and Laka? And if you was to go with one, who would be the starting striker tomorrow?
Me personally, I think he's going to go with one, and I think it's going to be Alexander Lacazette.
Yeah.
One, I mean, his work rate is tremendous. I'm sure we'll all agree with that.
100%.
And I think what Lacazette is really good at is good at holding the ball.
Yep.
And when you hold the ball, it gives midfielders an opportunity to either run beyond or come and support in good positions. So I think Lacazette will start and he'll have Aubameyang ready to go from the bench.
Yeah, Claude, what do you think about that?
There's no good playing Aubameyang if you've got no creativity behind him, is it? Because he's just going to be isolated completely, isn't he?
Yeah. I agree with both of you. I feel like Oba coming on 60 minutes will make a good impact.
Why we ever changed that? Because we were doing really well when one was coming off the bench.
Yeah.
And why we changed it, I don't know. I think that's how we should keep now, one off and one on the bench with an option of coming on.
Yeah, like we talked about earlier, I think, what you said about the formation, and because I think Emery, he knows he hasn't got the personnel needed for what he wants, so he's chopping and changing a lot because he has to do it. But at the same time, if it was to go wrong and we look at a manager's philosophy and him just chucking it out the back window to get results in, it could go one way or the other for him in terms of pressure. Pep Guardiola in his first season, there was a lot of talk, lump it up. There was pressure on him, but he stood to his philosophy all the way to the end of the season. It didn't work out well in his first season, but look what's happened now. Lee, Oba Laka.
Well, I was going to go the other way, but Kevin's convinced me that to go with Lacazette. A little point there is that we're all convinced that we're all sort of saying Lacazette, so that means Aubameyang, who's our second highest paid player, will be on the bench, but that seems to be accepted. So I looked at it in another way. I feel that Tottenham really pushed right high line, so that would leave then a lot of space behind which Aubameyang could exploit. But after speaking to Kevin, he sort of convinced him that Lacazette is the one to do that hold-up play, which I think is key for this game. We keep the ball as much as we possibly can, because if we have a weakness, well, we all know what that is as our defending side. If we can keep the ball for the majority of the time, then we'll be a lot better off. So I'm with the guys. I can see a reason for playing Aubameyang in because it's against Spurs, but I think, with Lacazette being on the bench, coming on the last 20 minutes, like for that game, or 20, 25 minutes, I think that he's going to go with Lacazette. And again, he could throw the bomb in again, as you say, and play the pair of them, for this game.
I'd love that to happen. I really would.
If he plays the both of them, I don't think it would suit us at all.
You don't?
No.
I think if Unai Emery surprised, because remember, it was surprise Spurs.
Yeah, exactly.
And play two up. Very rarely teams play two strikers up top.
I miss those days.
I think we all miss those days.
Definitely.
And defenders ain't used to playing against two players. And I think they complement each other's game pretty well. If Lacazette's receiving the ball, then Aubameyang's threatening on the shoulder. And it's a shorter pass to release him. I think that could really throw Spurs. You could always change it after that if you get your noses in front.
Didn't we bring on one of them at half-time in the first game? In the first game, we was losing 2-1 at home. Didn't we bring one on at half-time, and then the tactic was stretch the defence out and there'll be space in the middle?
I think Lacazette come on, didn't he?
Yeah, I think, and that's changed.
Lacazette
and Ramsey come on.
Both of them, yeah.
So another thing we could do is, with you talking about Mesut Ozil, if it doesn't work for 60 minutes, then bring Ramsey on. You know what I'm saying? You've got the option of doing that.
Me personally, I believe that Ramsey and Oba coming off the bench are much better impact players than Ozil and Laka coming off the bench.
Right.
Mainly because of pace for Oba and drive for Ramsey. Like Ramsey's got the passion as well. I think he got riled up in the first game against Tottenham, and he came on and dismantled.
I'll tell you what's interesting is that, we're talking about all these guys. The one guy that I think will definitely start is Iwobi. He's like one that is nailed on for this game, because he's got the work rate, and I think he'd be a key player for us tomorrow.
For who the other night, though?
For who the other night, as I say, I think there's some real difficult questions. And
in all honesty, I'd put Mickey Iwobi on the wings, Ozil number 10, and Laka up top. That would be me. It will be Mickey wings, Ozil behind the striker. I don't see anyone else fighting for the wing position.
Would you bring Xhaka back tomorrow?
Yes, just to add some robustness. I think I don't believe Koscielny will be fit enough, so I think we need...
I thought there was more fluency without Xhaka.
There is more fluency, but I believe against Tottenham we're going to need a robust, tough tackler there rather than... And Mustafi behind him is a bit of an issue. So Torreira and Xhaka in front of that defence will be much better equipped. Yeah. That's how I see it.
I think Guendouzi's been good, but I think Tottenham would lick their lips. The way Bournemouth scored.
Yeah.
bit naive, isn't it?
You know, I think Tottenham, because Tottenham press, they would really love us to be getting the ball with our back to goal in that position. They would relish that.
Ali Eriksson, they nick the ball.
Yeah, they would nick that.
The thing about Xhaka, you know, I'm not his biggest fan, and I look at it two ways. Is that him and Torreira got a good little partnership going, so that would be a good thing. But one thing that Tottenham do is that they play out from the back, you know, and so if we can. And I look at them sometimes and think, God, there's a mistake in there. Like it is with us at times, you know. So would Guendouzi be better, more mobile going into that press than someone like Xhaka? Again, it's another big call that the manager's got to make.
It's how you approach the game. Do you approach a bit cautious?
Just step back, or do you go in?
I don't think we could afford to.
No, I think let's go for it. Don't you?
Yeah,
I really do.
Do you know, us being on the back foot, I never like Arsenal being on the back foot.
No.
I much prefer us being on the front foot. And I think we've got to go for Spurs.
Yeah.
I think we really got to put them under pressure. A bit like we did at Chelsea at the Emirates. We were winning the ball high up the pitch,
I think that's
and they couldn't get out.
Yeah.
So I think we've got to have that same mentality and go for them.
I agree. And just before we get the predictions in, there's one more little dilemma I think that Emery has. A lot of fans are calling for Jenkinson to start the game. Obviously, we've got Lichtsteiner there. Both are not the greatest right backs right now. We've got one youthful, supports Arsenal, passionate, but we've got one experienced, one won it all. Who do you go with as right back, Kevin?
I've been a big advocate for Jenkinson. I think he's improved under Unai Emery. I think Unai Emery has protected him, and he's brought him in the Europa League. I know it's not been great opposition, but to integrate him back into the team, I think has been a really wise decision. Look, there's been stewards' inquiry on Lichtsteiner, haven't there? You know, and he's had good
more
games.
More stewards, Kevin. More stewards.
But what I'm saying is, he's had good games and he's had bad games, hasn't he? There's been times where he's looked awful, and there's been times where actually he looks half decent. Let's put it that way. For me, I would go with the young legs. I would go with Jenkinson.
Yeah.
And North London derby means a lot.
To him. I'm not saying it wouldn't mean a lot to Lichtsteiner. But to Jenkinson, he's got that added Arsenal blood in him, hasn't he? You know, I would go with Jenkinson, and I'm sure Unai Emery would tell him, look, just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Don't try and be too smart, and do your job.
Yeah.
And I think if you do that, he could do a decent job.
One thing you will get out of Carl Jenkinson is 110%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You won't give everything on it. He'll leave everything on the pitch.
To be honest, if you look at our whole team, does anyone know what the derby means to us fans more so than Carl Jenkinson?
Exactly.
I doubt anyone in that 25-man squad does. I think he knows the most. And in previous seasons, last couple of seasons, when we've looked at these derbies, a few times we've looked at them and we've said, does anyone understand what this game means to us? Because a lot of our players have been missing. But Lee, would you start Jenkinson or would you stick with
I'm going to be a little bit conscious. I think that Jenkinson will start if Arsenal or Emery plays a back three. I think if he goes for a back four, I think that he'll go with Lichtsteiner, who I thought had his best game against Southampton last Sunday. You know, I'm a big critic of his as well, as everybody knows. But I think there's a key. That's a key, and it's the key. I think where he plays a back 4-3 because you've got the Monreal Kolasinac one on the other side as well. You know, so I think that if he goes for a 4, I think there's a couple of decisions there. But does he go Kolasinac or Monreal? Now, if he goes with Jenkinson, I would go more of experience with Monreal that side. But if he goes Kolasinac, I think then you've got to go a little bit more stable with Lichtsteiner going in there.
He won't play a 4 with Kolasinac.
I think Kolasinac is such a big attacking threat for us now that if we leave him out, but we could potentially.
Where are you going to play him?
We could potentially ruin our attack by leaving Kolasinac out. Because the modern game is so suited to these attacking fullbacks now, from Matt Doherty to Robertson to
That's where our creativity has been coming in.
Exactly. So if you leave him out, potentially.
No, but if you play 4, I think.
Well, Spurs, I think will play a back 3.
If you're playing back 4 against Spurs with Kolasinac, I think that's dangerous.
Yeah, well, I think Spurs.
You reckon they'll play 3?
I think they'll play a back 3. I think they go 3 at the back, Tottenham. So I think we might have to match them up. Why not?
Yeah.
You know, so there's a couple of, you know, you can, you know, we're going to go on to predictions in a minute, but, you know, I'd rather look at the team first and then give you a prediction. But, you know, I think there is a few, which is nice, I suppose, in a way. There's a few headache decisions for the manager to make, but I feel that there are key ones to do. I don't think we should be too worried about what our Spurs match up. But you know, even if we've got if they go where we can change the team without making any changes, do you know what I mean? Like we can just like adjust.
Just adjust.
Just adjust. So that might be that we can pick a team to adjust. You know.
So let's stick with you, Lee, for the prediction. I know you want to see the team sheet. I think we all do for such a big game. It's hard to predict without knowing the lineup. But
yeah, for me, look, listen, this is the first time in 3-4 seasons that I'm going to Tottenham tomorrow away, because I can't say it's White Hart Lane. With a little bit of confidence.
Yeah.
You know, last few times I've gone there, let's just get in and out. I think like, you know, we've not really had a chance of winning. I'm not saying we're going to win tomorrow, but we've got a good chance of getting a result. They're still a very, very good side, wounded as well. Like, you know, I'll be happy if we get a draw. So I'm going to go 1-1, and I'm not going to be too disappointed if it was that. But obviously, you know, my heart is saying 2-1, but I'm going to go 1-1.
Yeah, Claude.
Something tells me they've played 28 games, not had one draw this season.
So going for
Come
a draw
Arsenal, it's going to be a draw. And I've got the same with Lee, 1-1.
Would you be happy?
As long as we pick 3 points up against Man United.
That's a very good answer, Kev.
I'm always going to be positive.
Yeah.
I'm always going to be positive. Look, in the last week, Arsenal have won 3 games. Looking good.
Yeah.
Attacking. We pose a threat. Tottenham haven't been doing great. We know the form book goes out the window, but the players should be buoyant.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win.
2-1 win, yeah?
Yeah.
Who do you see scoring first?
I think Arsenal going to score first.
Yeah, okay.
I really think Arsenal going to score first.
But I agree that I think we'll score first, but my prediction's more along the lines of a draw. I think it's going to be a good attacking game, but 2-2 draw. That's how I see it. Yeah. See, because obviously I wouldn't mind nicking it, do you know what I mean? You know, I stay over in the stadium for an extra half an hour.
You know, you say like you're happy with a draw. I have to make the point that if we're 1-0 up with a minute to go, then and we draw, I'm not going to be happy. You know what I mean? Like, but like, you know, I'm talking about in the context of the game. If it's, you know, 1-1 and there's 10 minutes to go, I would.
Quite easy. It been 1-1 last year, and we were played off the park.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you know, and you'd have said that was a great,
right.
win.
Especially with what Claude said, the game after, if we can pick up 4 out of the next 6, then I think the top 4 hopes are really.
It's no good
really
getting a draw tomorrow and then losing to Man United or drawing.
I think I'll still going on to the next game as well for our top 4 position. It's important we don't lose the next 2 games.
The last 8 games after are winnable, aren't they?
Yeah, so puts ourselves in a position.
That's our last 2 top 6.
Yeah, I think the attitude of the team is going to tell us a lot tomorrow.
Yeah.
We know it's a big game, but
can they deliver?
It's such a short season now. You know, you got to go for it.
Yeah.
Because if the team win the next 2 games, the top 4's on.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The top 4 is on, and what a boost that will give to everybody.
100%.
Not just top 4, Kev. I think top 3.
Yeah.
If we get the result tomorrow, you know.
Top 2, right?
No.
That's a bit too far, Claude.
Steady on.
But listen, gents, Lee, Claude, thanks for coming down, and Kev, it's been a pleasure. Man. Appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure.
Appreciate it. This has been the Supporters Club. What do you lot think about the North London derby tomorrow? Is London going to be red, or is it going to be white? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure you subscribe to my channel, Turkish LDN TV. Yeah, and tune into my stuff there.